Greetings, Moonlight citizens. This is your Moonlight King here to give you a notification that this episode of Moonlight Kingdom Reviews will cover the 1989 buddy cop action movie Renegades, starring Lou Diamond Phillips and Kiefer Sutherland. Oh yeah! So let's get into it right here, right now on Moonlight Kingdom Reviews. In three, two, one. Boom. All right, so this here, on this here episode of Moonlight Kingdom Reviews, we like to get into some background for the movie before we dive into the actual movie itself. This sort of background typically includes, what the movie made, when the movie got made, so on and so on, production value and all that. So just to fill you in on what you may not have known about the film, like for a fact, did you know that Lou Diamond Phillips in preparation for this film, Lou Diamond Phillips actually learned a lot about Native American culture and so on, so as to boost his performance and, well, not lean into stereotypes and whatnot, which was pretty good. Not His performance in this movie is pretty good. Let me say that much. Yeah. Apparently, ugh. All right, let's get into it. With a budget of $16 million, the movie Renegades debuted with a release date of January 2, 1989, runtime of 106 minutes. That budget of 16 million, brought forth by the production company of Morgan Creek Entertainment and Interscope Communications, turned in a box office of 20 million. Made back its budget and then some, so it wasn't a flop. Well, in the eyes of modern day views, where a movie has to make back double its money and then some to be considered a success, it might be. But back then, if a movie made back its budget, and well, in my eyes, movie makes back its budget, then hey, it's good, man. Good money, good day for all involved. Right. In regards to the movie's production, director Jack Shoulder wanted to eclipse the car chase from this previous movie, The Hidden. So he asked his stunt coordinator, Mickey Gilbert, what could be shown in a car chase that he didn't do the last time. So Gilbert came up with two stunts: the car driving straight through an office and obliterating everything in its path, the car driving a ramp into a semi truck and exiting through the other end. The car chase originally lasted 9 minutes, but Shoulder felt it was too long, so he trimmed it with 7 minutes in length. I'm guessing he cut out the part about the car driving up a semi and exiting the other side. Yeah, because that wasn't in the movie. I remember that much. Okay, this movie stars Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, Rob Nepper, Bill Smitrovich, and Jamie Gertz. If those names don't seem familiar to you, let's see. Jack Bauer and yeah, for those of you fans of 24 out there, this movie stars Jack Bauer, the Night Stalker, aka Richie Valens, aka Lou Diamond Phillips. He was also like Cisco in The Big Hit. He's a very he's really underrated character actor, man. He's done a lot of great films. There are the two leads of the film. In terms of the villain of the piece, it would be Robert Nepper. You may know him from movies like Prison Break. Prison Break is a movie. He was in the show Prison Break. He was in the movie Hitman, that first Agent 47 movie, Transporter 3, and he was also in R.I.P.D. So he's the main bad guy, Marino. So yeah, those are your three main actors, two heroes and the bad villain, and now that's enough background. Onto the movie itself. Three, two, one. All right, into the movie itself. The story is this: Buster is an undercover cop looking to bust a criminal who claims to have a corrupt cop on the payroll. But in order for him to get the cop and the crook, he has to take part in this robbery. The robbery goes awry and two people end up dead. One of those people turned out to be the other lead's brother, be Hank's brother, and he gets killed as the villain steals this lance belonging to the tribe, the Lakota tribe. The lance that was said to be capable of, I think it read like the thing said it was capable of killing two buffaloes in one toss or something. Like you could chuck it and it would pierce through like two buffaloes. And this thing, the importance of it, you can really sense like this is a major deal. The very possession of this lance is a big deal to the members of this tribe for like the first part of the movie, and in the third act of the movie, and in the second part, it's just like it's like, what lance? There is no lance. There was never any lance. This is just your run of the mill, like, buddy cop story now. Like, there's no lance here. This is just revenge, like Mendoza, like some that thing from The Simpsons. Anyway, but no. When the lance is brought up, it's you can understand why someone would go through all this trouble over this artifact, how important it is, and you get the significance of it. It's not just a MacGuffin for the sake of a MacGuffin. But the thing that bothers me though is that we don't really yeah, the bad guy takes the lance, and him taking the lance is what brings the story into motion, like full swing. If he doesn't take the lance, the rest of the story doesn't happen. But like we never really get a good reason why. He just like, he comes in, him, and Kiefer Sutherland's character, or Buster, like he busts in and he just stops. The villain just stops right in front of the lance. He looks at it for like a really long time. His buddy's like, "Let's go, man! Come on, let's go! Let's get out of here!" And he just busts the glass and takes the lance. And after they leave, we never see it again. He never references it again. It's not a factor until the third act when Hank and Buster are coming to get it and get him. That he's like, he wants it. And then he sticks it in the column. He's like, he can come get it. Like, what did you take it? That was never established. Did you? Like, I don't know. I guess if the movie was made in the modern day, they would have to have a moment where they like explain, where the bad guy explains why he took it, or like has one line where he goes somewhere to explain he took it. Like, no, he sensed something about it, or like, I don't know, he saw something, I don't know, something, man, like it called to him or something, you know. They could just I don't know, an explanation of some kind. I know that this needs to happen so the story is set in motion, but still, man, like stuff can't just happen for the sake of happening. You have to go some way to lay out why this is happening. I guess it must have been a deleted scene or something, because oh, uh okay, so that's what brings the two leads together. Hank wants the lance. Hank Storm, the character played by Lou Darren Phillips, wants the Why, Hank Storm wants the lance back so he can get revenge for the death of his brother and like return it to his people. And Buster wants to find the corrupt cop and arrest the guy who left him for dead. There's that, typical like buddy cop movie friction, like the two guys initially don't like each other, but over the course of like this one conversation where they learn more about each other, they after a while they start to trust each other. The scenes where after he rescues him and he's like patching him up, like, Buster tries to run, he's stopped almost immediately. And the second time, like they go down into this car. I don't know if that's Hank's car or if it's his car. It's somebody's car. They go into the car and like, hey, can you check the engine? And he's sitting like right in the driver's seat. The car won't start. So Hank goes up to the front. He's like, put your finger right here. Just put your finger right here. And so Kiefer Sutherland gets back in the car and he reverses fast. And he goes far, 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 far. Turns around and then he gets out to go and close the hood, thinking that he's ditched Hank, only to find Hank sitting there, just sitting there right on the engine. Like, yeah, but you thought you were gonna pull a fast one on me, huh? Yeah, I don't think so. Give me the keys, man. That was good. That was funny, man. This film's got a solid moments between the two. Yeah. There's this encounter that they have, like this other funny moment where like so Hank's dad is like praying over Buster's body to like help along with his recovery. And after like Buster wakes up like sometime later, he asks like, was there an old Indian guy praying over me? He's like, yeah. And he asks him, you don't even believe in that shit, do you? And Hank says, I am that shit. Oh, that was good. There's so many that's the thing with movies from back in the day, man. Like these movies, this nowadays, this movie would probably wind up straight to DVD. But like even in the '90s, like the way they treated action movies with like in regards to like production and like casting and whatnot, is like you wouldn't tell that this movie was a straight to DVD film. Looking at it, you'd think like, man, this was And it probably was. Weirdly enough, it probably was something that would play in a theater somewhere. Had a solid theatrical run. I'm guessing. Well, what the box office it made of like $20 million. It damn sure had a solid theatrical run. I mean, $20 million off a 15 million budget. I mean, that's pretty. Granted, that's just how I see it. When a movie makes its budget and then some, that's a success for me. That's a success in my eyes. The movie has justified its existence. In order for it to be a success, it has to make double its budget, compensating for like advertising and whatnot. Because apparently, when you do a film's budget, you don't factor advertising for some reason. I don't understand why they do that, but they do that. It's what they do. Anyway, back into the film. Yeah, I mean, the action in this film is pretty solid throughout, in both its shootouts and its fights. Like when Hank and Buster go to buy a gun, and they're like fighting the guys that get the gun from, and like the scenes, few like a scene later when they're fighting amongst themselves on a rooftop. It like nowadays one gets so used to seeing these choppy, hastily edited fight scenes that it's kind of a breath of fresh air to go back to a simpler time and see like the scene as clear as it is here, and see practical explosions and stunts, like when Hank is like running through traffic, jumping over cars, or that scene where he jumps from one train onto another. That was cool. That was like so. It was so cool, man. Like Lou Diamond Phillips in this movie was so cool. They made him look so cool. Oh shit. And they didn't lean on no cliches either, man. Like it was no noble savage type deal here. Like, you know, and there wasn't like you just know if this movie was made like 10 years earlier, there would have been a scene of like, I don't know, him putting on war paint. Or like or like charging into battle with that shit. This movie was weirdly enough, this movie was surprisingly ahead of the curve as it came to like its representation of like the Lakota and the level of respect that it had for the culture that it was not showcasing entirely. That's not the word I would use, but the culture that it was. It's not appropriating either because that has negative connotations to it. So it's like the culture that it had in it. The movie was originally supposed to be called Lakota, but they wanted people to know it was an action movie, so they called it Renegades. Even though only like one of them is a renegade, but still. Also, this movie's tagline on the poster was weird. It was like the shot of like Lou Diamond Phillips and Kiefer Sutherland. One had a shotgun, one had a gun, and above it's like the boys are back in town. What the hell are you talking about? The boys are back in town. Like what the? This isn't a sequel to anything. It's just it's a movie. Like what the? What are you doing? Go like boys are back in town. The other poster, like the wider poster, where it's like Kiefer Sutherland on one side, Blue Diamond on the other, and it's like a cop on the warpath. And on like Blue Diamond's side, it's like an Indian in gangland, renegades. And underneath it goes, nothing can stop them. That was better. That's way better than just the boys are back in town. What? If this was Renegade 2, or this movie was a sequel to another movie, then you could have that argument. Like, if this, you could have that argument. But, like, it's not, so you can't. Besides, it takes like 10 minutes for Kiefer Sutherland's character to even be seen in this movie, so it's no mystery as to who the real lead is here. But, at the time, like you could argue like Diamond Phillips wasn't there as a star yet. Even though this is his movie, it makes sense why Kiefer Sutherland's name would come up first on like the poster, or why he'd be the, you know, guy front and center and like credits and everything. So yeah, that's pretty solid. And well yeah. So going on like that. I overall hmm I like this movie, man. I like the movie overall. Overall, I give this movie an 8 out of 10. It's got great chemistry between its two leads, surprising amount of respect for the Native American culture. The story is straightforward and pretty well paced. It's got a pretty 90s feel to it, despite it being set in 1989. It makes it almost a precursor for the kind of buddy cop movies that would come after. Like, your Bad Boys and oh, well, that's not quite like Bad Boys because like Marcus and McLaren actually like each other from the jump. But the reluctant heroes narratives that would come after this, it was definitely a precursor for these types of movies. And yeah, ahead of the curve in some aspects. It was a definite 8 out of 10. It was almost a 9, if not for the part that the bad guy stealing the spear wasn't explained and seemingly just came out of nowhere so that the story could happen. That just, that kind of distracted me. Like, also the stuff with like, oh, the cliche thing about like I'm not a big fan of those lame action movies where the good guy has one guy he can trust, and it turns out that's the guy that he shouldn't trust because that's the guy who ends up betraying him. Like, dude, come on. You're better than this. I mean, granted, it was like 1989. This was everywhere, but not everywhere enough that it would be cliche. So, yeah, I'm going to let it slide on that one. So I just like an 8 out of 10 movie. Absolutely would recommend, would rewatch. Solid movie. Renegades, 1989. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Moonlight Kingdom Reviews. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I've been your Moonlight King, and have a good day.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life.